Today, we're traveling the short distance from Camden, New Jersey to Philadelphia, just across the river. But we're taking an unusual route. If you want to do this trip as fast as possible, I wouldn't take this route. If you want to do it as cheap as possible, I wouldn't either. But if you like trains, this route might be for you. Last week, you watched me take a ride on the Pennsauken Speed Line, the train that runs between Philadelphia and southern New Jersey. I visited the new Franklin Square station in Philly and then crossed the bridge over into Camden. If there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I try to avoid going back the same way that I came somewhere. Whether I'm walking, biking, or commuting by train or bus, if I can, I'll go back a different way. So the quickest way back to Philly would have been to just take the Pennsauken again. But I didn't want to do that, and I had time. Not enough time, though, to catch the ferry across the river. I just missed it, and I was disappointed. The next departure wasn't for an hour. But sitting at the aquarium station in Camden and hearing the bells of an approaching River Line train, I had an idea. Today, we're taking the long and more expensive way back to Philadelphia. We'll start with a $1.80 ride on the New Jersey Transit River Line to the Pennsauken Transit Center, followed by a $4.95 ride on the New Jersey Transit Atlantic City line into Philly. I've been on the River Line before, and in my dedicated video on it, I mentioned that I really like it. It runs on the street as a light rail in some of the cities on the route, and then it uses existing freight lines to cover the distances between them. It's a hybrid model of running a train that I think could be really successful if it was implemented in more small and medium-sized American cities. And of course, I love the Stadler GTW trains that run on this line. I didn't have much time to enjoy them because we were soon pulling into the Pennsauken Transit Center. So I have arrived at the Pennsauken Transit Center. Now downstairs is the River Line platform, and upstairs is the New Jersey Transit Atlantic City line platform. I've never been on the Atlantic City line before. It's the only line out of Philadelphia instead of out of New York. Newark, Hoboken, Secaucus, you know what I mean. And I think if I do a full video about the Atlantic City line, it'll be to actually go farther, like to Atlantic City, because this is just a short ride. He thought. But I'm still really excited to cross a new line off my list, and it's going to be another 20 minutes before it gets here. I guess if we were really committing, an even longer way to travel to Philadelphia would have been to take the River Line all the way out to Trenton and then take the SEPTA Regional Rail back to Philly. But I've been on both of those lines. I've never been on the Atlantic City line before, so let's do that instead. Apparently the ticket machine is broken, so I'm gonna use the app to get my ticket. So I'm on like a mezzanine floor on my way to the platform. There's nothing here, but you can get off the elevator. Now there's an electrical room and a communications room, so either New Jersey Transit is extremely accessible and should be commended, or they built an elevator with an unnecessary stop. Which is it? Let me know in the comments. The Pennsauken Transit Center opened in October 2013. See, the River Line opened in 2004, but without a connection to the Atlantic City line, even though it crossed right underneath it. Since 2013, passengers can now transfer between the two lines easily. The artwork at this station was created by J. Kenneth Leap, and it references the different women who have contributed to the history of Pennsauken. It sucks because the outbound trade on the other side is canceled, so people are like, I don't know how to get to where I need to go now. But our train is fine. It should be here in a few minutes.
And that's the bridge we're crossing into Pennsylvania.
Now, the transfer is not synchronized. The River Line runs every half hour, but the Atlantic City Line only runs 12 round trips a day. So I ended up having to wait a full 25 minutes before my train showed up. The Atlantic City Line is diesel operated. Over there, we see some masts standing over the tracks that look like they might have been used to carry overhead electrification. They actually didn't, but I will explain more when we're on the train.
Now arriving on track 1 is the New Jersey Transit 310 outbound train to Philadelphia, making stops at Philadelphia. Please stand back from the yellow line and please watch the gap while boarding the train. Pennsauken customers, we regret to inform you that New Jersey Transit has been forced to cancel the 3:10 p.m. eastbound train to Atlantic City.
So immediately after I got on the train, the conductor checked my ticket, and after she was done controlling everybody's tickets, she walked through the car, hanging up these quiet car posters for when the train would turn around in Philly and head back to Atlantic City. Now we're crossing the Delaware River over the Delaware Bridge, which was built in 1896. It was the first bridge between New Jersey and Pennsylvania. From the 1930s until 1981, the bridge was even electrified. This allowed the Pennsylvania Railroad to run freight trains from the Northeast Corridor to a freight yard in Camden, the freight yard that we passed earlier when we were riding the River Line. The electrification ended right before where the Pennsauken station is today, and those masts that we saw earlier, they were just built to carry utility wires, but they were built in the same style as railroad electrification. Anyways, we have now joined up with the Northeast Corridor, whose tracks we will follow all the way to our last stop of Philadelphia 30th Street Station. However, it will still be a while before we reach 30th Street. In the second half of the 19th century, places like Atlantic City were developed as resorts, where both the rich and the poor from places like New York and Philly could spend their holidays. And soon a network of competing railroads crisscrossed South Jersey. The two fiercest competitors in this part of the country were the Pennsylvania Railroad and the Reading Company. But in South Jersey, the government forced the two rivals to merge into one company. So in 1933, the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines was formed, with the PRR owning 2/3 of the company and the Reading 1/3. For a much more detailed history, I recently came across this video by Christian Smith. It's worth a watch. In 1976, ownership of the line was handed over to Conrail, and 5 years later, the state of New Jersey stopped funding the limited commuter service that was left on the line. In 1989, however, Amtrak began running train service from all over the Northeast to Atlantic City, and soon New Jersey Transit also began running trains on the line. While Amtrak service was cut in 1995 because it was too expensive and poorly marketed, the commuter rail service remains.
All right, my second time at 30th Street Station today. We got in at 3:33, 23 minutes, which is 2 minutes faster than the schedule said. When I saw the schedule, I was like, no way it takes 25 minutes. And then, well, it took 23 minutes. Obviously, Pennsauken Transit Center, the Atlantic City line, not really meant for trips from Camden to Philadelphia like I did, more so just for better connectivity throughout southern New Jersey. But it was fun to try, fun to cross the Atlantic City line off my list. I would get really frustrated if the last part of my commute was that slow, though. I'll be really honest about that.
And you guys know me, I like riding trains. I like taking slow trains. I've done it across the States, I've done it across Europe, but even I was getting antsy as this ride just kept taking longer and longer. Well, hopefully at least it led to some enjoyable content. If you did enjoy this video, but you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. We upload videos like this every week. Thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.